Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So I have here another 10 pens currently inked this week. I think let's go through them briefly one by one. We'll go through them in a little bit more detail and then we'll do a writing sample. So from left to right we have the Onoto Longitude. We have a Danitrio Chinkin Kage Momata on Takumi. We have a Mr. Cypress, and this is the Eggshell 05A. We have a Mr. Cypress Eggshell 06. We have a Twico Seishu Dragon in red, a Twico Seishu Dragon in green. We have a Mr. Cypress Eggshell 01. We have a Taccia Miyabi Winter's Breath, a Taccia Miyabi Empress Winter's Breath, and we have a Mr. Cypress Maple in the Woods. So I think let's take a look at the pens in a little bit more detail here. So this is the beautiful Onoto Longitude, and this the cap, the metal from the cap is made out of coins and other metals that have been retrieved from the shipwreck called the Association. And you'll see here the lovely plaque that you can see there on that cap. And it is a beautiful pen. It has a lot of like rope coils here to signify a theme of a ship. You have this massive anchor clip here, and then also the waves or wind across the sea, and then the detail on the cap band there that you can see is really quite nice. And then you've got a shackle here at the end. You also have the latitude and longitude of the shipwreck there. And this comes with a number 7 size. I got it in a medium nib, 18 karat gold nib, and it's a cartridge converter pen. The body is quite light. It doesn't have any barrel or brass insert into the body or the barrel of the pen. You can post the cap and it will post quite deeply and securely, but there's a lot of metal on the cap there, so it makes this pen very back weighted. So if you I think you will notice this when writing with it if you try to post that cap. But it's a beautiful pen, and it's a pen I'm glad that I added to my collection. I wasn't 100% sure that I wanted it based on the looks, although the cap really did it for me. And I have to say, I think maybe the pinstripes, the thin resin body sort of kind of put me off to start with, but the cap was really what sold it to me. So I'm glad that I did pick it up and I did add it to my collection. The next pen is a Danitrio, and this is a Chinkin pen, and it's a Kage Momata on Takumi. Takumi being the model of the pen, or the shape of the pen. But you can see this beautiful Chinkin flowers there that are just etched and backfilled with gold and other colors. Beautiful pen. I really, really do love this. And sometimes at pen shows you can be blinded by a lot of pens, and that's what happened to me. I had walked past this pen probably a dozen times at the pen show, and I kept looking at another pen that I wanted, which I didn't buy, and then at the same show somebody bought it from under me. I actually think somebody that was standing at the table next to me bought it when I was looking at it, and I put it down and I walked away and they bought it. So when I went back and noticed it had sold, I was looking for another pen and I found this beautiful pen. So I decided I would buy it. I wanted 2 pens to come away with. It has a number 6 size fine nib, a Danitrio Fireball nib there. It's a cartridge converter pen. It's actually a really good size in my hand. You can post the cap. It won't post deeply, but it does post securely. The Takumi models do post quite nicely. and then you have that wavy clip there as well, which is functional. You can see there, you can just push on the end, and it has a bit of a bounce to it. Now, I have been on a little bit of a Urushi kick, really. I want to say in the last couple of years, but I think it's been more, it probably has been the last 2 or 3 years actually, since the pandemic started. But more so this year, I have. And I bought this one in the summer this year. This is a Mr. Cypress pen. And I do like the Raden effect on this pen. I love the eggshells. I think I prefer the diagonal pattern on this one, and also on the 2 Taccias. However, I still like this a lot, and I decided I would pick this one up from Mr. Cypress. It is a cylindrical pen. It is flush between the cap and the body there, and I think that makes this look nice. You've got eggshells on the cap finial and also on the blind cap, but you'll see there that if I unscrew it here, that the cap and body meets up quite seamlessly. If I unscrew the cap, you'll see a very glittery section there, Raden coloured glitter, and let's see, Raden abalone shell. It's got a number 6 size 14 karat gold Mr. Cypress nib. It is a cartridge converter pen. Being a flat top pen, you cannot post the cap, and if I unscrew it, you can see there it's a cartridge converter. Still have quite a lot of ink in this one, so I am writing with it this week. Great size. Because the cap and the body is flush, you do get a bit of a step down. Doesn't bother me, but I know it does bother some people. I think having a step down on a pen like this is acceptable, because you get the flush transition between the cap and the body there, and I think that just makes the pen look a lot more nicer. The next pen, which was actually my first Mr. Cypress pen this summer, and I went on a bit of a kick at that point, buying a few Mr. Cypress pens, was this one. And I decided I'd get this because it looks very similar to my 2 Taccia Miyabis, but I hadn't realised that the direction of the pattern is opposite. Doesn't bother me, but I know it might sort of bother some people. Beautiful pen, again, a flat top, so you have the eggshells on the cap finial and also on the end cap finial. And again, a seamless transition between the cap and the body there. So again, there is going to be a bit of a step down, a little bit more pronounced step down here. But again, another sort of sparkly section, a number 6 size 14 karat gold Mr. Cypress nib, and again, a cartridge converter there. They just use Schmidt K5 converters, which is an industry standard good converter. I know some people do feel that on a certain price pen you shouldn't have cartridge converters. It doesn't worry me in any way. I actually find it's easier to clean out pens that way, and also if anything breaks in that converter, you can just replace it. But in the size of my hand, this is actually a decent size, so I do like this a lot. The Mr. Cypress nibs are actually made by Canwright, I believe, in India. So you can get 18 karat gold nibs, you can get 14 karat gold nibs. You can actually buy the pen with a steel nib if you really want, but I think it's a little bit of a sacrilege if you were to buy a lovely pen like this with a steel nib. I think it would be better if you could have a 14 or an 18 karat gold nib. I could have got Bock or Yovo nibs. I chose just to get the Mr. Cypress nibs. The first couple of nibs needed a bit of tuning, but the other 3 nibs I got are perfectly fine out of the box. So, like with most nibs, there is a little bit of a difference that you're going to see in consistency between nibs. Some will write wet, some will write dry, and some will be more smoother, some will be more pencil-like feedback. So it's just something to bear in mind. The next pen is the Twico Seishu Dragon in red. A really, really lovely pen. so glad I picked this up. I saw these at the London Pen Show in October 2022. Wanted to buy one, but I guess the price for me was a little too high for what I wanted to pay. Not that what it was worth, and I knew that I wanted to pick up two. And then I bought other pens at the show, so I decided I would leave it. And I came back in March, and the pens were still there at the Twico table. So I decided I would buy one. And then when I was talking to Vince, he said, well, I saw some pens in another tray, and I asked why they were a lot cheaper, and he said they were the prototypes. So I decided at that point I could easily pick up two of the prototypes, which is what I did. And this is a beautiful pen, beautiful work of art from a Taiwanese artisan, and I really love this pen. You can feel all of the scales of the dragon. The artwork on this is immense, and have to say it, not to say the Mr. Cypress pens are not immense, or the Danitrio, or the Onoto. It's just that it is amazing work of art. It does have a bit of a step down because it is a seamless transition between the cap and the body. Has a 14 karat gold number 6 Yovo nib there. These are cartridge converters, so you can see there just a standard international cartridge converter. In the size of my hand, though, really good size. You can't post the caps because it is more of a flat top pen, not a cigar. So there is a bit of tapering down here on the body. It's not enough to actually be able to post the cap. And most flat-ended pens or flat caps do not post. The next pen is again the Twico Seishu Dragon, but in a green color. I would love to see this in a blue and a purple, but I believe they were only made in the red and green. You have this really beautiful fireball there as well. Again, the texture to this, I wish I could try and show this. Maybe you can see there that there is a huge texture to this pen. It's not a smooth finish. You can actually feel that dragon in all of its scales. It also has a seamless transition between the cap and the body there. Also has a single thread start, so that the pattern will always line up. Number 6 Yovo 14 karat gold medium nib there, and again cartridge converter. You can't post the cap. Doesn't bother me. It really doesn't. Spring-loaded cap mechanism. You've got some wind here as well. Beautiful pen. And I'm glad that I picked up both. I don't normally, and I haven't normally picked up identical pens just in different colors, but I decided in this pen I would. It's just something I don't need duplicates of, and it is essentially the same pen, the same artwork, but just different color. But in this case, I think it was warranted because it really is nice. Another pen I picked up this summer was the Mr. Cypress, and this is in the Eggshell 01. They typically call these eggshell pens, not Lardon, not Maquet or Abalone, but it does have all of that on them. So again, it's a flat top pen, you can see there, with the eggshells that start to fall away into a black void, and then you've got these abalone strips there, the Lardon, and then black, and then again you've got the effect there of the eggshells. I like this pen a lot. Again, seamless transition between the cap and the body, so a slight step down, a glittery section there, sparkly section, and a number 6 size Mr. Cypress 14 karat gold medium nib, cartridge converter. Again, flat tops, you can't post the caps normally, but a really nice pen. And I honestly think for the price of the Mr. Cypress pens, they are really good value. And if you wanted to, you could get an 18 karat gold Bock gold nib or a Yovo gold nib. I went with the Mr. Cypress nibs. It saved me a little bit of money, not a huge amount, but a little bit per pen. And I just thought, as I was buying multiple pens, that there was a bit of a saving there to maybe add up to buy another pen over time. So that was part of the reason for doing so. The next pen inked up is the Taccia Miyabi Winter's Breath, and this was the one for me that really started off the kick for the eggshells, the abalone shells. This is the beauty of a pen, and this was a birthday pen for me, and I really wanted this beautiful work of art, and I really am glad that I got it. It has a spring-loaded clutch mechanism there, so you have to twist and turn. It has quite a wide section, a number 6 size Taccia nib. It's an 18 karat gold nib. This one's a broad nib, cartridge converter. You can post the cap, but again, on a lot of Urushi, I will not post them in daily use. It's a number 6 size nib, so it looks like the nib's a bit small on this pen, but it writes really nice. The Taccia nibs are made by Sailor, so you know that those nibs are going to be good. And then this is the Taccia Miyabi Empress Winter's Breath. So this is the big brother or big sister. Again, eggshells. These are quail's eggs on the Taccias with abalone strips here. And unlike, I won't say unlike the Mr. Cypress, there's not a lot of black between the abalone strips, whereas on the Taccia there is. You also have this Urushi enameled clip and with eggshells on it as well. This, because it's the bigger sibling, it has a much thicker section and a king of pen size Taccia number 8 nib made by Sailor for Taccia. And you can see there, this is a very girthy pen. You can post the cap, not quite as deeply, but you can post it. I would honestly like, I like the size of this pen. I like the girth on it. I would actually like to get some more Miyabi Empresses. However, if you check the price out on those pens, they are not cheap pens. So whether or not I will, I am not sure, but I might pick up another one in the future. I think it really depends on the design of the pen. I've got to like the design, the pattern, the material, and at the moment I've not seen any that really sort of shout out to me to say you need to buy it, but I'm sure at some point there will be. And then the last pen inked up is this one. It's a Mr. Cypress. Again, I purchased this in the summer of this year. It's a Maple in the Woods, or as I like to call it, Maple Leaf. You can see here an absolute stunning of a pen. It does have texture to it. It's not a gloss-like finish that you can see there, even though you can see the light reflecting. It does have texture to it. So it does feel not rough, but you feel the texture there. It has a very glittery section, a number 6 size, Mr. Cypress 14 karat gold nib, and this is a cartridge converter as well. You cannot post that cap. Again, not even though it's a cigar, it's not designed to do so. But this is a really nice pen. So I have that one inked up with me this week as well. So I think with that, let's go and do a writing sample. So the first pen here is the Onoto Longitude. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And this is a lovely cerulean blue, almost sort of bordering on turquoise coloured ink that I love. This is the Onoto Longitude. It's a medium and it's an 18 karat gold nib. It's an Onoto nib made by Bock. The ink in here is Pelican, Edelstein, Topaz, which is a really nice ink, and I did buy another bottle of that this summer because it really is a ink that I like a lot. The next pen inked up is the Danitrio Chinkin Kage Momata on Takumi. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And this is a lovely brown ink. So this is the Danitrio, and it's the Chinkin Kage Momata, and it's a fine 18 karat gold nib. And the ink in here is Pilot Iwashizuku, and it's Sakushi, which is Horse's Tail, which is an ink that had or has been discontinued by Pilot. I'm sure it will come back at some point though. The next pen is a Mr. Cypress, and it's the Eggshell 05A. We'll do an ink swatch here. And I like the colour of this ink a lot. I've not written with it for a little while until I inked it up in this pen. So this is the Mr. Cypress, and it's the Eggshell 05A, and it's a medium, and it's a 14 karat gold nib. And then the ink in here is Rora and Klinger, and it's Verdura, which is a nice green ink. Slightly different green than I normally go for, but it's a green that I have equally fallen in love with. The next pen inked up is the Mr. Cypress Eggshell 06. So we'll do an ink swatch. Now, this is a medium nib, but I find it writes a little bit more on the dry side, and I'm not out of ink, but I'm just having to prime that converter a little bit. There you go. So I do find it writes a little bit on the dry side, as I was saying, but I think it's also partly to do with the ink. It also writes a little bit narrower. So this is a Mr. Cypress Eggshell 06 with a medium, and this is, I think I might have actually said it was a 14 karat gold. It's an 18 karat gold, this nib. I started off with this pen first, and I bought an 18 karat gold Mr. Cypress nib for it, and then the others I stepped down to 14 karat gold nibs. And then the ink in here is Pelican, Edelstein, Appetite, which is a beautiful coloured, almost a tealy turquoise coloured ink. The next pen is a Twico Seishu Dragon in red. So we'll do an ink swatch. And this one, it's a Yovo nib. The ink is wet. It just flows beautifully. So this is a Twico Seishu Dragon in red. And it's a medium, and it's a 14 karat gold Yovo nib. And the ink in here is KWZ Thief's Red. And just thinking back, actually, when I started in the hobby, I used to like Pilot Roshizuku Konpeki, and every pen I got, I would first ink it up with that because I knew how the nib would flow, or in terms of ink flow. I don't do that now. I just go to an ink that I think would match nicely with the pen. But I matched that ink and it did match nicely. The next pen is the Twico Seishu Dragon in green. So we'll do an ink swatch. And again, this was exactly the same thing. I just bought another bottle of the red ink, KWZ Thief's Red, and I bought this one as well at the same time. So this is the Twico Seishu Dragon in green. And again, it's a medium 14 karat gold nib. And then the ink in here is KWZ grass green. And I looked at a number of online swatches before buying this bottle, and I realized that there were quite a few greens that KWZ had, but this was the one that I wanted. The next pen here is the Mr. Cypress Eggshell 01. So we'll do an ink swatch. And I like this colour a lot. So this is the Mr. Cypress Eggshell 01 in a medium 14 karat gold nib. And then the ink in here is Pilot Roshizuku Aji Sei, which is a very nice sort of ink. It's really a little bit more of a mauvey violet colour, forget-me-not blue type of colour. The next pen inked up is the Taccia Miyabi Winter's Breath. And I already have this ink in the Onoto pen up here, the Longitude. But this is a broad nib, but I would say it probably writes similar to the Onoto, which is a medium nib. So this is the Taccia Miyabi Winter's Breath. And it's a broad, and it's an 18 karat gold nib. And then the ink in here is, of course, Pelikan Edelstein. And it's topaz. But that really is a lovely cerulean blue that I like. And I keep going back to that one, more so than I do go back to Konpeki now. The next pen inked up is the Taccia Miyabi Empress Winter's Breath. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And I wanted to ink this up with, originally when I bought it, Topaz from Pelikan Edelstein. But I knew I couldn't ink the two up with the same ink, so I went with a green instead. And so this is the Taccia Miyabi. There's an I there somewhere. And it's the Winter's Breath. And I think it's getting low on ink. Just going to have a look and see. No, maybe it just needs priming the converter a little bit. And it's a medium, and it's an 18 karat gold King of Pen nib. And then the ink in here, and I need to just double check that, is Diamine Ultra Green. But that is also a nice green, slightly different sort of sort of hue to KWZ Grass Green, but still it's one that I like. And then the last pen inked up is the Mr. Cypress Maple in the Woods. So we'll do an ink swatch. And this is the Mr. Cypress Maple in the Woods. And it's a medium, and it's a 14 karat gold Mr. Cypress nib, made by Canwhite in India. And then the ink is Herban or J Herban, and it's Ambre de Burmanie, which is a lovely autumn colour, and one that I am writing with quite a bit lately. So I think let's take a look at these pens inked up one more time. We have an Onoto Longitude in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Pelican Edelstein Topaz. We have a Danitrio Chinkin Kage Momata on Takumi in a fine 18 karat gold nib inked up with Pilot Washizuku Sakushi. We have a Mr. Cypress Eggshell 05A in a medium 14 karat gold nib inked up with Vora and Klinger Verdura. We have a Mr. Cypress Eggshell 06 in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Pelican Edelstein Appetite. We have a Twico Seishu Dragon in red in a medium 14 karat gold nib inked up with KWZ Thief's Red. We have a Twico Seishu Dragon in green in a medium 14 karat gold nib inked up with KWZ Grass Green. We have a Mr. Cypress Eggshell 01 in a medium 14 karat gold nib inked up with Pilot Washizuku Aji Sei. We have a Taccia Miyabi Empress Winter's Breath. Taccia Miyabi Winter's Breath in a broad 18 karat gold nib inked up with Pelican Edelstein Topaz. We have a Taccia Miyabi Empress Winter's Breath in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Darmine Ultra Green. And then we have a Mr. Cypress Maple in the Woods in a medium 14 karat gold nib inked up with Herban Ambre de Burmanie. So there you have it. That's my current ink pens for this week. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye-bye.